So let's dive in and talk about Donald Trump, a name that's become synonymous with modern American politics. We know him as the real estate mogul, the larger-than-life businessman, the reality TV star who commanded attention. And then, unexpectedly, he became the 45th President of the United States, a turn of events that shocked the world. He's absolutely everywhere you look. He's constantly on the news, a topic of discussion in family debates, and the subject of countless conversations. He's also at the center of endless online arguments, sparking heated discussions across social media platforms. Why is this? Because he's unlike any president before him, shattering norms and challenging expectations. He talks and acts nothing like a traditional politician, often bypassing the usual filters and speaking his mind directly. He's using social media to speak directly, unfiltered, to the public, and often provocatively, to the public, igniting controversy with just a few taps on his phone. Some people love his brash style, finding it refreshing and authentic, seeing him as a champion for the forgotten American, a voice for those who feel left behind, shaking up a broken system. Others are deeply concerned, viewing his presidency as a threat to democratic institutions, believing his words and actions threaten the country's core values, undermining the principles upon which America was founded. This isn't just about policy differences, it goes much deeper than that. It's about a fundamental clash over what America stands for, a battle for the very soul of the nation. The big question that looms over everything: is Donald Trump destroying America? Is he tearing apart the fabric of our society? It's a question that divides families and friends, creating deep rifts in our communities. But it's one we need to explore, to understand the complexities and nuances of his impact. My take? Here's what I think. His presidency has left deep cracks in the nation's foundation, exposing vulnerabilities and testing the strength of our institutions. To understand the impact, we need to look past the sensational headlines and the constant media frenzy, and examine what he's actually done, digging into the details and analyzing the consequences of his actions. Let's break it down, piece by piece. What makes Trump so different and so divisive? What is it about his style and policies that evokes such strong reactions? Why do his actions matter so much? Why are they so consequential for the future of our country? And what does it mean for America's future? What kind of legacy will he leave behind for generations to come? Let's find out. Let's begin this journey of understanding together. Trump's leadership style: think CEO, not president. A top-down approach where decisions are made swiftly and directives are expected to be followed without question. He's treated government agencies like personal staff, expecting unwavering obedience. He demanded loyalty to him, not the country, blurring the lines between personal allegiance and public service. This created an environment where dissent was often viewed as disloyalty. When agencies like the FBI disagreed with him, or pursued investigations he didn't like, he attacked their credibility, often publicly, eroding public trust in these vital institutions. This undermines the very foundations of the institutions meant to protect democracy, making Americans question who to believe and fostering a climate of skepticism. Internationally, Trump often alienated longtime allies, disrupting established diplomatic norms, and cozied up to authoritarian leaders, seemingly prioritizing personal relationships over strategic alliances. This shift made America seem unreliable on the global stage, risking our global partnerships and undermining our influence. If allies can't trust us, they'll look elsewhere, leaving America isolated and vulnerable. America First could end up as America Alone, a self-imposed exile from the international community. In a dangerous world, isolation isn't strength, it's vulnerability, leaving us exposed to global threats. The damage to trust, both at home and abroad, could last for generations, hindering our ability to address future challenges. That's not just a political problem, it's a national security risk, weakening our position in the world. Leadership isn't about loyalty to one person. It's about serving the country and upholding the values upon which it was founded. And that's where Trump's approach falls short, prioritizing personal gain over the common good. Every country has rules, the bedrock of any society. Some are written into law, etched in stone, while others are just understood, unspoken agreements that bind us together. Trump, during his time in office, broke many of the unwritten ones, those norms that help maintain civility and order. He refused to release his tax returns, a move that went against established precedent. This act alone was breaking decades of tradition, a practice upheld by presidents for generations. He blurred the line between public service and personal gain, often mixing his business interests with his presidential duties. This raised serious questions about using the presidency for personal profit and financial advantage. The underlying message seemed to be that rules don't apply to the powerful, that some are above the law. But perhaps most alarming was his refusal to accept the results of the 2020 election, a cornerstone of democratic transitions. He spent months spreading baseless claims of fraud, undermining the integrity of the vote. This wasn't just about one election, it was about something far more profound. It was an attack on the entire democratic process, on the very foundations of our republic. When leaders actively undermine faith in elections, the consequences can be devastating. Democracy itself is at risk, its institutions weakened and vulnerable. If people stop believing their votes count, if they lose faith in the system, the entire system falls apart, leading to instability and chaos. Democracy depends on everyone playing by the same rules, even when they lose, especially when they lose. Trump's actions chipped away at that trust, leaving deep scars on our institutions. The damage to faith in democracy may be his most lasting and detrimental legacy. That's a threat no country can afford to ignore, a danger to our national security and our way of life. A president should unite, not divide. Trump often used us versus them language, labeling opponents as enemies and fueling division. His rhetoric targeted immigrants, the media, and protesters, sometimes using dehumanizing terms. This isn't just politics, it's turning Americans against each other. The result? More anger, more distrust, and real-world consequences like the January 6th Capitol attack. When leaders stoke division, it weakens the nation from within. America's strength has always been unity and diversity. Trump's approach made compromise and conversation nearly impossible. A divided country can't solve its biggest problems. That's a legacy we'll be dealing with for years. So is Trump destroying America? No one person can do that, but his actions have left deep wounds. He's shown how fragile our norms and unity really are. The real question, what do we want from our leaders? Do we want division or unity, entertainment or public service? These are questions for all Americans, not just one party. Our future depends on demanding more from our leaders, and from ourselves. Stay engaged, ask questions, and keep the conversation going. America's story is still being written. Let's make it one we're proud of.